Let me tell you something that might just change the way you see success forever. Most people want to transform their lives overnight. They want the $1,000,000 result, but not the 1% improvement. But greatness doesn't happen in a leap. It happens in layers. If you improve yourself by just 1% every single day, by the end of the year, you're not 365% better. You're 37 times better because growth compounds. Let me tell you something powerful. You don't have to take massive leaps to change your life. You just have to move forward a little bit every day. See, the problem with most people is that they want instant transformation. They want to go from broke to blessed, from unnoticed to unstoppable, from ordinary to extraordinary overnight. But that's not how growth works. The truth is, greatness is never built in giant steps. It's built in small, consistent, intentional ones. If you improve yourself by just 1% every single day, you'll look up 1 year from now and won't even recognize the person you've become. Not because of luck, not because of miracles, but because of the quiet, disciplined decisions you made daily when no one was watching. 1% better might not seem like much in the moment. It doesn't give you that adrenaline rush of achievement. It's not glamorous. It doesn't get applause. But that's where the secret lies. The small improvements you make in silence compound into something loud later. If you study the greats, you'll see a pattern. They all mastered the art of consistent improvement. They didn't chase perfection, they chased progress. You don't have to be the best today. You just have to be a little better than you were yesterday. Because when you focus on getting better instead of getting there, you eventually arrive without even realizing it. That 1% could be as simple as waking up 10 minutes earlier, reading one more page, speaking one word of encouragement, taking one small step toward your goal. You don't need to rebuild your entire life today. You just need to take responsibility for one part of it. Improvement doesn't always feel rewarding at first because progress hides behind patience. You plant the seed long before you see the tree. You work the soil long before you see the fruit. And if you give up before the growth shows, you'll never experience the harvest that was already on the way. When you commit to 1% improvement every day, you begin to build something more valuable than results. You build discipline. And discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Most people wait for motivation to show up before they move, but motivation is inconsistent. Discipline is dependable. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation starts the race. Discipline finishes it. The world rewards consistent effort, not occasional excitement. So instead of waiting for the perfect time, use the time you have perfectly. The beauty of daily improvement is that it shifts your identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you start believing that you are capable of more. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it, you build credibility with yourself. And the moment you start trusting yourself, your potential begins to unlock. You stop operating from fear and start operating from faith, because faith at its core is acting on what you cannot yet see. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a declaration that you believe in the person you are becoming. See, too many people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. They set massive goals, fall short once, and quit. But when you focus on getting 1% better, you take the pressure off perfection and put it on consistency. You start realizing that small hinges swing big doors. The person who reads 1 page a day will eventually finish the book. The person who saves $1 a day will eventually build wealth. The person who learns one new thing a day will eventually master their craft. Consistency always beats intensity when intensity fades. You've got to train your mind to celebrate the small wins, because every time you recognize your growth, no matter how small, you reinforce the behavior that created it. Gratitude magnifies progress. When you're thankful for how far you've come, you create momentum to go even further. The real battle is not external, it's internal. You're not fighting against the world. You're fighting against the old version of yourself who wants to stay comfortable. Every day you choose growth, you're winning that battle. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is found in what you do daily. You can't improve your life if you don't improve your habits. You can't improve your habits if you don't improve your mindset. And you can't improve your mindset if you don't improve your decisions. Every choice you make is a vote for the person you want to become. So choose actions that align with your destiny, not your distractions. Improvement is not about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right thing long enough. The truth is, if you get just 1% better every day, you'll soon live a life that feels unrecognizable compared to where you started. Not because you suddenly got lucky, but because you were faithful with the little things. Success is not something you chase, it's something you cultivate through consistency, discipline, and gratitude. The journey of 1% a day doesn't just change your life, it changes who you are becoming in the process. Discipline is the bridge between potential and progress. You can have all the talent in the world, all the dreams in your heart, and all the goals written on your vision board, but if you don't have discipline, It will never manifest into reality. Potential is what you could do. Discipline is what you choose to do. And the distance between what you could have been and what you actually become is determined by how consistent you are when the excitement wears off. Every person starts with potential, but very few finish with progress because potential doesn't fulfill itself. Discipline does. You see, motivation is like a spark. It can start a fire, but it can't keep it burning. Discipline is the wood that keeps the fire alive when motivation fades away. There will be days when you don't feel like working, when your emotions tell you to rest instead of rise, when your mind tries to convince you that progress can wait. Those are the moments that define you, because anyone can act when it feels good, but discipline is doing what's right even when it doesn't feel good. The people who win in life are not those who are always inspired. They're the ones who act regardless of how they feel. Discipline means doing what must be done even when nobody claps for you. It's staying focused on your mission when distraction looks more attractive. It's saying no to instant gratification so you can say yes to long-term growth. It's waking up early to prepare, staying up late to refine, pushing through resistance when comfort calls your name. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's proof that you value your future more than your feelings, because your feelings change with the weather, but your purpose doesn't. Think about an athlete. Their body might have potential, but without consistent training, without discipline in diet, sleep, and repetition, that potential remains unused. The same is true for every area of life. Your potential might be unlimited, but your discipline is the access code. Potential is like a locked treasure chest. Discipline is the key that opens it. Every time you stay consistent, every time you show up, you turn potential energy into progress. You transform dreams into results. Most people think discipline is punishment, but discipline is actually freedom. It's the freedom to choose your direction instead of being controlled by distractions. When you discipline your time, you create room for purpose. When you discipline your mind, you create space for peace. When you discipline your habits, you create momentum that carries you forward. The more disciplined you are, the less life feels like chaos and the more it feels like clarity. Discipline doesn't take away your joy. It protects it from being stolen by inconsistency. You can't build anything lasting without discipline. A relationship, a business, a body, a mindset all require it, because without it, everything collapses the moment pressure appears. Discipline makes you reliable. And reliability builds credibility. When people know you keep your word, opportunities start finding you instead of you chasing them. But first, you have to learn to keep your word to yourself. Every time you promise to do something and you don't follow through, you weaken your self-trust. Every time you commit and complete, you strengthen it. Progress is built on trust, and trust begins within. Discipline also requires clarity. You can't stay consistent with what you don't truly value. If you don't know your why, your discipline will die the moment things get difficult. But when you understand why you started, when you know what's at stake, discipline becomes devotion. You stop trying to escape hard work because you see it as a pathway to transformation. You stop negotiating with your goals because your vision is non-negotiable. The more focused your purpose, the stronger your discipline becomes. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you plant a seed of greatness. The result may not show up immediately, but it's growing underground. The person who trains daily may not look different in a week, but in a year, everyone will notice. The business owner who stays consistent with small efforts may not see profit instantly, but over time, the results become undeniable. Discipline doesn't deliver instantly. It compounds quietly until it explodes publicly. That's why the most successful people don't chase quick wins. They build steady habits. Discipline doesn't eliminate struggle. It teaches you to use struggle as fuel. Every challenge becomes a chance to prove your strength. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow your endurance. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about getting back up every time you fall, adjusting your plan, and continuing the journey. Because real progress is not built on flawless execution. It's built on relentless effort. You can have goals, dreams, and vision boards, but without discipline, they remain decorations of potential. Discipline is what turns inspiration into transformation. It's the invisible force behind every visible success. The stronger your discipline, the louder your results will speak. Potential gives you possibility, but discipline gives you progress. Your habits shape your tomorrow. The life you're living right now is a reflection of the habits you built yesterday. And the life you'll be living a year from now will be shaped by the habits you start building today. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. You can dream about success, visualize abundance, and speak affirmations all day long, but until your daily behavior matches your beliefs, nothing changes. The small things you repeatedly do, not the big things you occasionally do, determine the direction of your destiny. Habits are the quiet architects of your future. Every choice you make is a brick in the foundation of your future self. The question is, are you building a fortress of strength or a prison of regret? Habits are not built by accident. They're built by design. Every time you take action, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. When you choose to read instead of scroll, that's a vote for wisdom. When you choose to save instead of spend, that's a vote for discipline. When you choose to practice instead of procrastinate, that's a vote for mastery. The power of habit is that it compounds, and it doesn't care whether your habits are helping you or hurting you. That's why you must be intentional. Most people underestimate the influence of small actions because they can't see the results immediately. But habits work like compound interest, tiny deposits that grow into massive results over time. Missing one day won't destroy you, but missing consistently will define you. Likewise, one good day won't transform you, but stacking good days will elevate you. Your habits are the invisible system running your life on autopilot. If you don't control them, they'll control you. You can't expect a new life from old patterns. You can't pray for change while practicing the same routines that keep you stuck. Habits are not just about what you do. They're about who you believe you are. True change starts when you shift your identity. If you tell yourself, I'm trying to be disciplined, you'll always struggle. But when you start saying, I am disciplined, your actions align with your identity. You act in harmony with who you believe yourself to be. That's why change begins in the mind before it shows up in the mirror. Your mind builds your habits, and your habits build your future. If you want to change your life, stop focusing on outcomes and start focusing on systems. Every habit has a pattern, cue, craving, response, reward. You see something, you feel something, you do something, and then you get something. To build better habits, you must change the cues around you. You can't grow in a toxic environment that feeds your distractions. If your phone is your biggest obstacle, move it away when you work. If your weakness is procrastination, create structure that forces action. Successful people don't have more willpower, they have better systems. They design their environment to make success easy and failure difficult. Habits also create momentum. The hardest part of change is not doing the work, it's starting the work. Once you start, the energy builds. One push-up becomes 5. One page becomes a chapter. One step becomes a mile. Momentum turns resistance into rhythm. When your habits become part of your rhythm, success becomes a natural consequence, not a constant struggle. You don't have to force excellence. You simply live in alignment with it. But you have to understand something. Bad habits don't go away on their own. They have to be replaced, not removed. If you stop doing what's wrong but don't start doing what's right, you'll fall back into the same pattern. Replace gossip with gratitude. Replace complaining with problem solving. Replace laziness with purpose. Your habits are either preparing you or preventing you from stepping into your next season. When you create habits that support your purpose, you create peace within yourself. You stop feeling like you're fighting your own progress. The real reason people feel stuck isn't because life is unfair. It's because their habits are misaligned with their goals. You can't wish for success and work like you want survival. You can't expect growth and live like comfort is your priority. Your habits are the bridge between your intentions and your results. If you wake up each day with intentional habits, praying, planning, learning, creating, serving, your days start to align with your destiny. Your habits reveal your priorities more than your words do. What you repeat, you reinforce. What you reinforce, you become. You can't cheat your way into greatness. You can only grow your way there one habit at a time. When you control your habits, you control your trajectory. Success doesn't require perfection, just consistency. If you focus on doing the right things daily, even when progress seems invisible, the results will eventually become undeniable. You're not waiting for transformation. You're building it one habit, one decision, one day at a time. Faith without action is just a wish. You can believe in your dream all you want, but if you never move toward it, it remains imagination. Faith was never meant to be passive. It was designed to produce motion. True faith doesn't sit still in hope. It moves forward even when the path isn't clear. Belief is the foundation, but action is the proof. If you say you believe something, but your actions never align with that belief, what you have isn't faith, it's fantasy. Real faith doesn't need the whole staircase to take the first step. It says, I don't know how, but I'll go anyway. So many people pray for change, but never prepare for it. They ask for opportunities, but don't position themselves to receive them. They talk about destiny, but live in distraction. Faith isn't waiting for the perfect time. It's acting with conviction when everything still looks uncertain. It's trusting that the seed you plant in faith today will become a harvest in time, even if you can't see anything sprouting yet. The soil doesn't look different the day after you plant the seed, but something is happening underneath. Faith works the same way. It operates underground before it manifests in your life. Action is what gives faith life. You can't say you're believing for a better future if you're still practicing the same habits that built your past. You can't say you have faith in your purpose if you keep ignoring the work that brings it to life. Faith is not meant to make life easier. It's meant to make you stronger. When you take a step towards something greater, resistance will show up. Obstacles don't mean your faith is weak. They mean your growth is real. Because every time you act on faith, you expand your capacity for what's possible. The gap between belief and results is filled with disciplined action. Many people confuse intention with execution. They think wanting it badly enough is enough. But faith without movement is like a car without fuel. It looks powerful, but goes nowhere. You can read all the books, attend all the seminars, and recite all the affirmations, but if you never act, you'll never access the power of your belief. Faith is proven not in your emotions, but in your endurance. When you keep showing up even when the outcome looks distant, that's faith. Faith doesn't cancel fear. It conquers it through motion. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's obedience in the presence of it. You don't need to see the finish line to start the race. You just need to take one step. Each step you take in faith activates the next door, the next idea, the next opportunity. You'll never know what's waiting for you if you keep standing still, waiting for everything to be guaranteed. Faith is not certainty. It's confidence in uncertainty. The moment you take a step, the moment you act, the universe begins to rearrange itself to meet your movement. You can't keep asking for blessings you're not ready to handle. You can't keep expecting growth when you're not planning anything. Action is what makes faith visible. You can say you want success, but if your calendar is full of distractions and your time is spent on comfort, you're not moving in faith. Faith takes commitment, persistence, and risk. It's uncomfortable because it requires trust. Trust in the process, trust in your preparation, trust that what's unseen will soon be seen if you keep walking. Faith-driven action is not just about doing more. It's about doing with purpose. It's not hustle, it's alignment. It's when what you believe and what you do become one. When you act in faith, your energy changes. Your perspective shifts and your creativity increases. You stop waiting for permission because you realize you already have it. You stop looking for signs because your movement becomes the sign. Faith gives you vision, but action gives you manifestation. There will be moments when you feel tired, when your effort feels unnoticed, when the results seem delayed. That's when faith is truly tested. Anyone can act when things are working, but real faith acts when nothing seems to be. Faith says, I will keep going because my breakthrough is already written. You can't measure faith by how easy things are. You measure it by how committed you remain when things are hard. The process may be long, but every small step is building momentum. Faith and action are partners. One without the other is powerless. Belief gives direction. Action gives proof. You can't separate them and expect transformation. Faith is not a feeling. It's a decision backed by discipline. Every move you make in faith sends a message to life itself that you're ready for more. It's not about waiting for certainty. It's about walking with confidence, knowing that each obedient step brings you closer to what's already meant for you. Focus on consistency, not perfection. Perfection is an illusion that keeps people paralyzed, while consistency is the quiet force that builds mastery. Too many people wait until everything is right before they move. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect confidence, and they end up waiting forever. The truth is, perfection is just fear dressed up as preparation. You don't need perfect conditions to grow. You need consistent action, because consistency always outperforms intensity. You can do something extraordinary once, but it's what you do repeatedly that changes your life. Consistency is the difference between people who wish for success and people who walk into it. Anyone can be motivated for a moment, but few are disciplined for a lifetime. The world doesn't reward occasional effort. It rewards daily dedication. Every day you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you're building momentum. You're teaching your mind that quitting is not an option. You're training your body and spirit to align with purpose instead of emotion. Every repetition strengthens your results, and every small victory builds the muscle of persistence. People often confuse perfection with progress. They think if something isn't flawless, it's not worth doing, but progress doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful. A small, imperfect step forward will always beat a perfectly planned step that never happens. Consistency is about movement, not magnificence. It's about showing up with excellence, not with excuses. The person who practices imperfectly but consistently will always surpass the person who waits for everything to be perfect before beginning. The real power of consistency is that it compounds. What seems small today becomes significant over time. Reading for 10 minutes, exercising for 20, learning one new thing each day. These small acts stack up. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and months become mastery. The secret is not in doing everything at once, but in doing something always. Success doesn't come from doing big things sometimes. It comes from doing the right things repeatedly until they become a part of who you are. Consistency requires commitment more than motivation. Motivation is emotional. Commitment is intentional. Motivation fades when you get tired. Commitment stays when you remember why you started. You can't build anything meaningful if you only act when you feel good. Feelings are unreliable, but commitment is steady. Consistency means you keep showing up when you're inspired and when you're not. When it's easy and when it's inconvenient, when people applaud you, when no one even notices. It's not glamorous, but it's effective. The reason many people never reach their goals isn't because they lack talent or opportunity. It's because they lack consistency. They start strong but stop early. They let distractions destroy direction. They give up when progress slows. But the truth is, progress never happens in a straight line. Some days will be full of results. Others will be full of resistance. Consistency means staying steady through both. It's understanding that slow progress is still progress. Every time you stay consistent through difficulty, you build endurance, and endurance makes you unstoppable. You have to learn to fall in love with the process, not just the prize. Perfectionists fall in love with the outcome. Consistent people fall in love with the work. They understand that excellence is not an act, but a habit. The process of becoming is what refines you. Each day you choose discipline over distraction, you become more of who you were meant to be. You won't always see instant results, but every consistent action plants a seed. Keep watering it, and in time it will grow. Consistency also builds confidence. Every time you follow through, even in small ways, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Self-trust is the foundation of all growth. The more consistent you are, the more you start to believe in your ability to change. Confidence doesn't come from perfection, it comes from evidence. Every act of consistency is evidence that you're serious about your goals. That evidence compounds into belief, and belief fuels further action. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You just have to do something faithfully. You can't allow the fear of imperfection to keep you from progress. Perfection is unreachable, but consistency is always available. The secret to long-term success isn't doing it all right. It's refusing to quit when things go wrong. When you stay consistent long enough, what once felt difficult becomes automatic. Habits form, momentum builds, and results appear. Consistency is what turns discipline into destiny. It transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. It's not about being flawless. It's about being faithful to your growth. When you show up consistently, you start attracting opportunities that match your effort. You stop chasing success and start becoming the kind of person who naturally produces it. Consistency makes you predictable in your purpose, reliable in your results, and confident in your calling. You don't need perfection to win. You just need to keep showing up every single day, giving your best with what you have, where you are. Gratitude fuels growth and keeps you grounded. When you live with gratitude, you see opportunities where others see obstacles. You find lessons in the losses and blessings in the burdens. Gratitude doesn't ignore reality. It transforms how you experience it. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's multiplying. The moment you begin to appreciate what you already have, you open the door for more, because what you fail to appreciate eventually disappears. Gratitude keeps you connected to purpose while you're pursuing progress. It reminds you that success without humility is just pride in disguise. So many people chase achievements thinking they'll finally feel fulfilled when they reach the next level. But fulfillment doesn't come from more, it comes from mindfulness. Gratitude teaches you to celebrate the present while building the future. It keeps your heart steady in seasons of change. You can be ambitious and grateful at the same time. You can desire more without despising where you are. Gratitude doesn't kill your drive. It purifies it. It turns striving into stewardship. It transforms comparison into contentment. When you are thankful, you stop competing with others and start cooperating with your calling. Gratitude is a magnet for growth because it positions your heart to receive. You can't receive what you constantly resent. The person who complains about small beginnings never experiences great endings. When you learn to thank life for the little, life starts trusting you with the large. Gratitude is not weakness, it's strength under control. It allows you to stay grounded when things go right and hopeful when things go wrong. Because no matter what happens around you, there's always something to be thankful for within you. When you focus on what's good, you multiply good. The human mind can't grow in an atmosphere of negativity. Gratitude renews your perspective. It helps you see that even setbacks can serve you. Every disappointment carries a hidden appointment if you look closely enough. Every delay can develop something in you that success never could. Gratitude turns pain into purpose and obstacles into opportunities. It helps you see that growth doesn't come from having everything go right. It comes from finding the right attitude when things go wrong. Gratitude also keeps pride from poisoning your progress. When people begin to succeed, they often forget what got them there. Gratitude keeps you humble enough to remember the journey. It reminds you of the people who helped, the doors that opened, and the lessons that shaped you. Pride says, I did this. Gratitude says, I was trusted with this. That mindset keeps you balanced, because when you forget gratitude, you start chasing validation instead of dation. And when you chase validation, you lose your peace. Gratitude guards your heart from that trap by reminding you that you already have enough to be enough. Being grateful doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging that even in imperfection, there's still progress. Gratitude doesn't deny difficulty. It defines it differently. It's the ability to say, this might not be what I wanted, but maybe it's what I needed. That shift in mindset allows you to grow through seasons others get stuck in. Gratitude turns frustration into fuel because it focuses your attention on what's working instead of what's missing. You start to realize that your greatest growth often comes from your greatest gratitude. Gratitude also enhances relationships. When you appreciate people, they feel valued. When people feel valued, they give their best. The simple act of saying thank you can rebuild bridges, strengthen bonds, and create trust. Gratitude turns transactions into connections and coworkers into collaborators. It reminds you that no success is ever truly solo. Even when you think you did it on your own, there were lessons, influences, and blessings that supported you. Gratitude acknowledges that and creates room for more of it. Growth without gratitude creates emptiness. You can gain everything and still feel like nothing if you forget to be thankful. Gratitude fills that emptiness by reconnecting you to meaning. It shifts your definition of success from accumulation to appreciation. You stop measuring your worth by what you have and start measuring it by what you give. Gratitude keeps you grounded in truth while your success takes you higher. It anchors you so you don't drift when blessings increase, because every new level of growth requires deeper roots of gratitude. The more grateful you are, the more growth becomes effortless. When you're thankful for progress, you enjoy the process. You stop rushing through life and start experiencing it. Gratitude slows you down long enough to notice how far you've come. It reminds you that every breath is a blessing, every opportunity is grace, and every challenge is an invitation to rise higher. Gratitude doesn't make life perfect, it makes it purposeful. It allows you to stand tall in success without losing sight of where you started. It's not just an emotion, it's a lifestyle that turns ordinary days into extraordinary ones by changing how you see everything around you.